Welcome to the AI Colleagues Studio launch webinar. We'll talk about AI colleagues, what they are, and how we build them here at Leena AI. I'm Dan Bagley. I run the solutions engineering team here at Leena, coming to you live from the DC area, Northern Virginia, just outside of DC. I'm joined by Audit Jain, who is the co-founder and CEO of Leena AI. Hi, Audit.
Hey Dan, excited to be here and talk about the AI Colleague Studio.
Absolutely, absolutely. So our time here today already covered some brief introductions. We'll continue that as we go along. I'm going to invite Audit to speak a little bit about the vision behind AI colleagues and sort of his journey and what we've seen over these past 8 years in terms of building this technology stack and how it has evolved and how frankly quickly it has evolved, which continues to boggle my mind a little bit. We'll talk a little bit about Agentic AI architecture. We'll talk about what is an AI colleague and how that differs from a traditional agentic architecture. And then the back half of this packed half hour, we'll see a little bit of a demo of some AI colleagues in action. And then more importantly, we'll show you how we built these and sort of what is behind each of those AI colleagues. We do have chat and Q&A that are open. Feel free to ask questions in the chat using the Q&A feature as we go along here. We have some staff on the team who will answer those via text as we go. And time permitting, Audit and I at the end of this will be happy to answer some of the questions live via video and audio as well. So with that being said, I'll invite Audit to share a little bit about his journey and sort of how we got to this place.
Yeah, I think we started the company before LLMs were cool or AI was cool essentially. So it's been incredible 7-8 years for us. We started with the vision of building a Jarvis or Siri for the enterprise, and essentially, if I was to define that today, that's exactly what we do. But it's kind of evolved into saying that hey, at Leena we today build AI colleagues for the entire back office, right? What do I mean by AI colleagues? Is there the advanced version of agents? And I know you will cover that in detail later, Dan. But think about AI colleagues being more like getting up at 7 a.m. in the morning and doing a full day's worth of work versus being prompted to or asked to do something specific. They actually are following a goal. And that's essentially what we're building. We are building AI colleagues for the back office. We imagine a future where in the next 3-4 years, a lot of the individual contributor job roles in the back office will not look like what they look like today. Of course, like the job roles will evolve, they will change into doing something else, but the existing job roles will stop, and AI colleagues will do them end to end. And if you think about it, that makes a lot of sense, right? Like the back office specifically has been, nobody working in the back office, especially in the junior roles. Like solving IT tickets, HR tickets, running payroll process, etc. Like none of them went through college thinking that they're gonna do this for a living, or they were never excited going through college that hey, this is what I'm gonna do, and this is what I'm gonna become in the next in my career, right? And that's why exactly the back office is ripe for disruption. It's a very big focus area for us here at Leena. In this journey, we have seen the entire technology change from the pre-LLM era to the LLM era and agents and AI colleagues, as we call them today. We've raised 50 million, 50 from Bessemer, Greycroft, YC on the way, and we currently serve over 500 enterprise customers, including the likes of Assurant, Coca-Cola, BCG, Estee Lauder, some really large Fortune 500s. And one of the things that we hear consistently from CIOs and CHROs and CFOs is that, hey, I am trying to build this, but it takes a lot of time, it takes a lot of energy, and the board expects me to go live as of yesterday. And I think that's exactly what we hit. We say that, hey, this is in the back office, the AI colleagues, this is something like, you should have it. You should definitely have it because it is efficiency gains, it is productivity gains, it is cost savings, it is acceleration of your own organization. But you can't be building this. You don't build a Workday, you don't build a ServiceNow, right? And that's basically a talk track we've been hearing a lot, and we kind of empower that with a lot of these out of the box AI colleagues and integrations with ServiceNow, SAP, Workday, etc. So Dan, I'd love for you to get this unpacked with the AI colleague architecture and the studio as we move forward.
Yeah, no, thanks for that introduction on it. I think that's it's been an incredible journey, and one of the things that consistently amazes me about AI is just how quickly it moves, and you've seen a huge amount of that during the past 7 or 8 years, and I've been lucky enough to be on board for part of that journey, and it is truly amazing how quickly it moves. So, sort of to kick this off, give us an idea of where you stand about agentic AI. I think every single organization that I speak to, and I speak to many in any given week, have different levels of engagement about agentic AI. Everyone's thinking about it. Everyone's talking about it. Some are doing it. Some are doing it extensively. And so I think it's helpful from a level set perspective. So poll just came back. I think traditional bell curve distribution here. I think that the majority of our participants, which is what I see when I'm out in the marketplace, are somewhere in the middle of that journey. And that's good to hear because I think this is going to be an area where we're all going to spend a lot more time and effort over the coming months and years. But there's a lot more work to be done. So audit gave kind of the sort of high level view of the evolution of AI, particularly enterprise, workplace, employee focused AI, and I want to kind of separate from the sort of pure generative AI of the era and focus more about the employee experience and the supporting employees and supporting the back office. If you think about that from a technology perspective, we started with the traditional chat box and sort of menu driven, intent based, added basic LLMs to that to try to help with mining users' intents and guiding through that process. RAG is a technology as we move along this graph, retrieval augmented generation, that can use large language models to source data from policy documents and answer employee questions. Still very, very important today, as we'll get to in a second, but kind of the next evolution of that employee assistant experience. Over the past 8 to 12 months, we've seen agents everywhere, and I think both Gartner and various analyst and media outlets have cautioned all of us to be really careful of agent washing everything. If you talk to any enterprise software company out there today, they will tell you about their agents, and sometimes agents, when you're talking to those software companies, look more like the left-hand side of this chart, basic menu-driven things, or at the best RAG. So true agentic goes out and does actions on a user's behalf. It reaches into horizontally across your stack in order to support actions. And now today we're moving into sort of tier 3 agents, or as we're calling them, AI colleagues, that can really move beyond merely accomplishing actions into automating entire business processes. So with that, let's talk a little bit conceptually about what makes an AI colleague or level 3 agent different from a traditional agent that you might see in the marketplace. I see 4 key points that truly differentiate our AI colleagues or level 3 agents. The first and most important is the intelligent mix of deterministic skills, so deterministic meaning it happens the same way every time, and LLM powered flexibility. I think if you look at the marketplace today, there is a tendency either to over rotate towards determinism, meaning traditional BPA, RPA type tools, build me a spider web-esque workflow so I ensure something happens all the same way every time, or over rotation towards non-deterministic large language models. This fallacy that I can wire up my data and applications to a single monolithic LLM and hope for the best. Where we see the most flexibility and the most power and the most safety, quite frankly, is an intelligent mix of those two solutions, using deterministic skills encapsulated via APIs or workflows or browser use to define the building blocks of your business processes while embracing the power of large language models in order to use those deterministic skills in a flexible way to implement your business processes. And if I think about the innovations around AI colleagues, it is that intelligent mix of deterministic skills and LLM powered flexibility, which is the single biggest innovation that we'll talk about here today. Other things that make AI colleagues different. AI colleagues are proactive, not just reactive. If you think about traditional chatbots, they respond to my requests, respond to my commands. An AI colleague needs to respond to external stimuli, whether that is external stimulus from a system, an API, a webhook, or even things like time. To audit's point, they need to wait and do work. AI colleagues have to be inherently cross-platform. Those enterprise software vendors that I talked about tend to be narrow. They tend to be siloed in their approach. They want to have agents that can help you use their application better. An AI colleague, just like a person in a job role, exists across multiple applications. They are not siloed. They are inherently horizontal, implementing their job role across a disparate stack. And lastly, AI colleagues need to use context. That's context of the user, context of the conversation, and context of the company. All of that context needs to be used in all of these other three buckets in order to implement an AI colleague. So how do we do that? So this is a busy slide here. This is the world according to Leena, and I'll do my very best to kind of break it down here and sort of show it to you, and then we'll show it to you in action. So at the very top are touch points. So you think about in order for an AI colleague to be effective, it needs to meet employees wherever they're at. So for desk-based workers, that traditionally means something like a Teams channel, a Slack channel, a Google Chat channel. But for mobile and remote workers, we need to embrace things like voice, being able to place a call to an AI colleague, browsers, both on mobile and desktops, embedding inside of intranets and service portals, leveraging advanced inbound agentic features such as MCP and A2A, and traditional legacy channels of communication such as texting and email. That's not a single choice for your entire organization. That's multiple choices to meet multiple employees wherever they're at. The core orchestrator still needs to build an intelligent execution plan. This is something that we've had in place for some time and powers what I would call our level 2 agents, as I'll talk about, but is critical for level 3 agents as well in terms of building an intelligent execution plan, breaking down a task, building that execution plan by calling level 0 through 3 agents. So the agents themselves, so an AI colleague, a level 3 agent, is akin to a entry level persona inside of your organization. So an IT operations coordinator, an HR operations specialist, time and attendance analyst, these are people that you are doing basic rote elementary job roles that can now be encapsulated by an AI colleague or level 3 agent. Each of these agents have 4 important pieces. The first are skills. So this is the deterministic part. Skills need to happen the same way every time in order for your business processes to be grounded in a realistic deterministic fashion. So the majority of our skills are pre-built skills, which leverage our entire library of integrations. So you have a library of integrations when you add the Workday integration or the SAP integration or the ServiceNow integration. With it comes inside of our skill studio, a library of pre-built templates that you can click and deploy with a click of a button, modify if you need to, if you've customized things in order to provide that deterministic grounding layer for AI colleague actions. You have other options as well in terms of default skills we offer, API-driven skills, MCP, A2A, or even things like browser use. Second piece that's really important for AI colleagues is memory. So this is the context piece that I was just talking about. User context, company specific context, domain context, session context. This memory layer allows an AI colleague in order to respond to your employees, again, like a human would. And company specific knowledge contained in your policy documents, your procedures, your handbooks is important towards grounding that experience as well. Third item is the agent operating protocol. This is where your business processes live. And we'll show you this in the demo here in just a second. Your business processes can now be written entirely in plain text, in plain English or a language of your choice. It does not require a computer programmer. It does not require somebody to go into a low code, no code workflow builder. The agent operating protocol describes in plain English to your AI colleague how to use skills and memory to accomplish your business processes. Critical. Lastly is the workbench. The workbench is what allows an AI colleague to be proactive rather than reactive, to respond to external stimuli, as well as respond to clock-based events. Every morning, an AI colleague at 7 a.m. wakes up and performs time and attendance reconciliation, for instance. So the workbench is what enables that shift from reactive to proactive. All right. So with that being said, let me switch over and we'll show a few of these AI colleagues in action, and then we'll talk about sort of how that works from a behind the scenes perspective. So just like I took you through the process of sort of the evolution of agents from sort of a conceptual perspective, let's go up the chart from an evolution of agents from an experience perspective. So let's start with a level zero agent, just basic RAG. In this case, Leena has synchronized with all those sources of knowledge across my enterprise. It has taken a question such as, do we have a vision plan? It has used those sources of knowledge in order to respond to my questions. Foundational, basic today, but still very, very important for grounding an agentic experience. All right, let's move up to a type one agent, a tier one agent. So a tier one agent is now going to go use the context about me. So context is still important, but it is going out and doing something on my behalf. This prompt is asking a Workday agent or an HRIS agent to go out to my Workday environment and query everything it knows about my compensation inside of Workday. It's reactive. It's a single request to a single agent returning a set of data that's processed back to me. Very, very important. The library of integrations is huge here, and it's something that we continue to see a lot of value in our customers. But again, basic and foundational at this point in time. So let's get a little bit more advanced. Let's think about a tier two agent. So a tier two agent leverages an orchestration layer to orchestrate multiple agents taking multiple actions simultaneously. So in this example, okay, how many employee onboarding requests with a start date in March are in the San Francisco office? That's one request to an onboarding agent. How many MacBook Pros do we have in inventory? Okay, that's a different request to an ITSM inventory agent. If employees are more than inventory, that's a native capability, then create a procurement task in Jira. So here, in this type 2 agentic example, our orchestrator is managing 3 different agents to form 3 different tasks and determining the result to it. Now, this is powerful, impactful. We have customers using this type of tier 2 agent in our orchestration layer today to accomplish very complex bits of work. However, there are limits to this from a complex business process perspective. If you want to implement complex business processes, you are faced with either going down the workflow route and building a web of workflows, a deterministic set of workflows in order to accomplish work, or at the mercy of a large language model, which may be non-deterministic in nature. So let's take a look at an AI colleague in action. So what is the self-assessment status of all employees in the New York office? Now, this is a good example because it's a simple one, and I probably could build a static deterministic workflow that did this work for me. But here, you're actually seeing the thought process of an AI colleague following a text-written business process, or AOP. First, it looks for all the employees in the New York office. That's one. 2, it then goes out and queries the performance self-evaluation status of each of them. Then it processes it and returns a summary back to me. Again, this is something that I could have scripted, but instead I'm leveraging the intelligent mix of LLMs and deterministic workflows in order to accomplish this business process. It has summarized the results to me. It's let me know that some people still have their evaluation in progress. It looks like audit, you've got your evaluation in progress. So let's remind audit.
Oh
So we're
man,
going to
I
go ahead
didn't
and
do
send.
it yet.
Yeah, we're gonna send you a notification, and Leena's going to go ahead and let you know that your self assessment is overdue. I hope you did a good job. So this business process has been implemented by the AI colleague in a very, very simple way, and I'll show you the back end of this in just a second. Let's take a look before we do that, sort of a slightly more complex one. So imagine I need to run a software audit process. I have licenses that exist inside of one system. I have inventory that exists inside of another system. I have software installation data that exists inside my endpoint management system. And I'll show you the business process behind this in a second, but this is a complex process by which I have asked an AI colleague to collect software installation data, collect license data, compare software installations and license inventory data in order to present a summary to me of multiple areas of problems and results that can be further evaluated. So with that, and as we will let our license audit continue to run, let's talk a little bit about how this happens and how do you build an AI colleague. So step one of an AI colleague is actually enabling the integrations, enabling the connections to your business systems. Because again, the AI colleague needs to be able to accomplish work. We have a dedicated engineering team that does nothing but build the connectors that you see on this page. So step one is connecting to one of your business applications. Step two is enabling the deterministic skills, those building blocks of your AI colleagues. And you can do that two ways. One, you can build that yourself. We have a custom low code, no code workflow builder, and you can build them from scratch. Or you can leverage our template library. So across every one of those integrations and applications, we provide a very large list of pre-built agentic skill templates. So you don't have to build these. You select the application, you select the relevant template, you deploy to your environment. So the deterministic building blocks of your business processes are there for you to build, but also there for you to leverage from our space. So this performance self-assessment status, this is the skill that I was running just previously. It gets based on a single employee ID. It follows this process to go out to my HRIS system and get a single employee self-assessment status. So let's take a look about how we take this single deterministic workflow and up-level it into an AI colleague. So for that, we'll head to the AI colleague studio. Here you can see all the different AI colleagues that I have enabled for this. Each AI colleague has a persona. It has a description that allows the core orchestrator to find it, and it has other details that we'll use in order to implement tasks. So we'll head to my HR specialist. We'll find my self-assessment reminder. You'll see the description here, and let me make this just a little bit bigger so everybody can read it on the screen. So this allows a user to check the annual performance review self-assessment status for more than one employee and then send a reminder message. So this instruction set, this block of five instructions written in plain English, is the business process by which this AI colleague implements its work. The purple highlights are actually where it uses skills, those building blocks, in order to implement those business processes. So first, use the employee directory search to find the employees that were in question. Then, for each one of them, get the performance self-assessment status. Summarize that self-assessment status. If they've all been completed, let the user know the good news. Otherwise, ask the user who they'd like to remind. For each user that they've requested a reminder, go ahead and send a notification. So it's a little bit of a contrived example, but this shows you how a single, simple, deterministic skill like getting performance self-assessment status for a single user can be up-leveled into an entire business process that's been written inside of plain English. Now, moving from proactive to reactive, I can actually schedule this inside of the workbench. So if I come back over here and find workbench, I can actually create a schedule or ask this AI colleague to respond to external stimuli such as API endpoints or REST webhooks. So moreover, from a user asking for a reconciliation of performance self-assessment status, we can actually use a scheduling mechanism in order to ensure that this happens proactively rather than reactively. All right, so lots more examples of this, and would be happy to answer some questions, go through some detail behind that. I see we have a few questions in the chat. Let's take a look here. All right. So I had a question about custom applications. So as I mentioned, we have a pre-built connector library that does. Our engineering team does nothing but build connectors to major enterprise applications. So we do also support custom applications as well. So you may or may not have seen it in the list when I scrolled past. SOAP and webhook APIs as custom connectors. So if you have a system that we have never seen before, we can actually connect to it via traditional APIs. Additionally, it's not uncommon for us to include additional connectors through additional deployment. That's how the library has gotten so big in the first place. All right. Let's see here. Other questions. You see any here you wanna answer, Audit?
Yeah, absolutely. I think in the Q&A, part there was a question that came in about languages that we support. So essentially, we support 100 plus languages for the end employee or the end user when they're interacting. The On the voice, so I don't know, we did not talk about voice at all, but you can do everything that Dan showed on voice as well. And the creation of the AOP itself. Right now, both the voice and the creation of AOP are only English, but we are adding more and more languages as we go ahead. Uh, Happy to answer any other questions that you might have at this time uh, for the people who have turned on. So I think Bill has asked a question. What industries are you focused on and what size companies, number of employees? So Bill, we typically work with, so we're not industry focused. We generally work with enterprise customers, generally with more than 1,000 employees, generally, but that's not a rule. That's more of a direction. Our smallest customer would be 500 employees, but going up to 300,000 employees. So we have a broad range, and with the launch of the new AI colleague studio, we even see that companies all sizes can actually automate a lot of their back office using the AI colleague studio. They can keep building more and more AOPs and integrate with more and more applications to keep getting more work done. Uh, I think Bill says thank you, but Satya has another question. Over to you, Dan, to answer that.
Integrating with RMM tools. In terms of revenue tools, I mean, I'll answer that in general. Is that we cut across the entire application stack. So we traditionally enter via IT or HR simply because that touches every single employee. Sales, finance, and procurement continues to add on to that very quickly. And so as you look at things like revenue management, revenue recognition tools, very easy to continue on that pathway. Typically, when we deploy at customers, we take a look at sort of that low hanging fruit first of how can we touch every employee, show value to those employees, and quickly build a value equation beyond AI colleagues.
Absolutely. And if you mean remote monitoring and management, absolutely, you can integrate Leena with a lot of different RMM tools like Atera, ConnectWise, NinjaOne, etc. as well. Um, uh, I think Janelle has another question about complex data analysis insights. Yes, that's a very common use case. A lot of our customers create AOPs and AI colleagues that actually, do very deep analysis across 5, 10 different steps and present out, dashboards to the customer and leadership. So that's pretty interesting. And then Steve has another question, Dan, about how do we position against MoveWorks, and it seems you're filling a similar scope.
Yeah, I mean, I think from a 30,000 foot overview, I could see the similarities. So I think what we've just shared with you today from an AI colleague's perspective is something that we don't believe that anybody else in the marketplace has today. That mix of determinism and LLM powered flexibility, we believe, is a completely unique innovation you're not going to find elsewhere. I would additionally say against some of our more ITSM focused competitors who are really focused on IT and IT alone, we go far more horizontally in the stack. So as you look at integration with HR across the major providers, Workday, UKG, SuccessFactors, Paylocity, others, we go much deeper into HR, go deeper into sales, go deeper into finance and procurement. So it's both a functionality difference between traditional competitors as well as a breadth of experience against such of those competitors.
And also, the idea of AI colleagues and the studio is a big differentiator because you can use AOPs to. It's not just about solving tickets anymore. It's about, hey, can I do a full day's worth of work with some of these AI colleagues? So it's a different paradigm. Earlier, a couple of years ago, yes, we used to compete with MoveWorks, but right now it's a different ballgame altogether. I think one question that came in the Q&A was, does Leena integrate with D365 Dynamics 365? Yes, it does, Jacob. We have integrations with Dynamics as well. A lot of customers have integrated us with Dynamics.
Well, great. Well, we are at the top of the hour. I do appreciate everybody joining. We will make this recording available, some follow-up Q&A available. There is a QR code here if you'd like to scan it, or if you answered positively in the poll, happy to follow up with you as well. Thank you for joining here today. As you can tell, we're really excited about AI colleagues. We think this enables both value and capabilities that go far beyond what else you'd see in the marketplace. So happy to share it with you, and look forward to learning more. Thank you.